work with a lot of people. I work with a lot of individuals, and I work with a lot of teams. And I'd say it's worth for me splitting the two. With individuals, as private clients, what I look for is when was their creativity, or their creative spirit, or their spark, when was that broken, or when was that damaged or taken away or pushed under to do the right thing. And it's really important to find where and when to help them get it back, because I find that that is very, very often the driving force when people who are passionate about their work or on purpose, that's the thing that fuels them. And I'd much prefer someone who is fueled by a lust for life, by a real hunger to achieve what they want to do, than someone who's fueled by pain or trying to find people's pain and then fix people's pain. Where I could say that it's similar working with teams and individuals. But there are two distinct types of people in the workplace, I'd say. And one are the diggers, and the diggers can be very masculine, very linear, drawn by facts and figures and numbers and problems and things that need to be kind of structured. And the other one are the dreamers, which is a lot more kind of touchy-feely, following intuition, attracting perfect clients and perfect suppliers and dream situations to come together. And I would say every organization needs a bit of both, whether it's within individuals or within a team, because we need to think big, or to think clear, if not big, have the structure, and then allow life to attract the people to go through that structure and to listen to the structure and adapt. And so the dance of business begins. And to me, business is all about relationships.
Right.
And then also there, people get to know what are my strengths and what do I need to express in my work. And if their strengths are more creative, then that can be played to. If they are more linear or more logical, then that can be played to. If it's overly one without space for the other, then it depends on the individual whether that works or not, or whether within the team everyone plays to their strengths and it's a solid team in that way.
Right. So let's look at the individual level first of all. You talk about a person's lust for life. Is that similar to what some people call a person's mojo? You know, this kind of...
Yeah. Exactly. It's the spark. I wake up in the morning and I think, great, I can't wait to see so-and-so, do so-and-so. How's this going to unfold? What, there is a solution floating for so-and-so problem. I wonder what it's going to be, rather than, oh my God, I have to face this and it's a drain. So for me, the mojo really is the spark. It's the, I want to do this and I'm going to change my world, if not the world, as I express myself today. So that's exactly it.
Mm-hmm. And that's very much at an energetic level rather than a cognitive level, would you say?
Yes, yeah, it is. And it seeps through very strangely. So, for example, when I began my work with, I used to be a management consultant. I used to launch a lot of businesses and brands and things like that. And it was very linear. It was very, these are our plans, this is the structure, this is how we'll execute the marketing plan, and this is what we will gain. But strangely, what I noticed was it was my clients who, for whatever reason, spoke to me about their private lives. It was their businesses that did very well very quickly. And then I looked behind this, because sometimes they did well and they attracted people before we even put out the marketing. So what I realized is it's their vibe that they're putting out. There's a certain frequency. It's almost like a certain clarity that might be discovered on paper or on the computer, and that's what goes out and attracts the people, which is totally logical. And I would say we need the both. We need the personality, and we need almost like the spirit of our mission to have space to come alive.
So it's like a person's presence, isn't it? You know, some people seem to have such a charismatic presence that whatever they touch will, you know, become something big. It's almost like they have the Midas touch. So is creativity
Exactly.
right? So it's related to presence in some way.
That's part of it. It's almost like a flavor of this is our mission. This is what we wish to do. And then a flavor of this is my role within the mission. And then a flavor of as I do this, somehow I come alive. It doesn't cost me energy. It fuels me with energy. It doesn't cause me stress. It gives me an opportunity to explore. So it is very much like that. And I would also say, especially these days, a fraud in business as well as out of the boardroom can be spotted a mile away. And in the old days, it was all make yourself look like a big brand. Don't say I, say we. Show them your values and your principles and your guiding, and you know, it was all very front. And then it went to the opposite extreme, where it's be a personality, be individual, and not just tell people about the benefits of working with you, but also tell them why you're doing it, what drives you. And these days, especially with such transparency online about where people go and what people do, people want to know the story. What's your story? Why are you doing this? Do I like you? Do I trust you? And do I wish to engage with you? So the power of the consumer and how flippantly they can change their minds. It's like, now I get to choose who I work with, not just from the front, but because I like them and this is how I wish to spend my time, or I want to support where they're coming from and it's an alignment with my values.
It kind of reminds me of the archetypal stories, you know, the stories that drive us unconsciously, like the archetypal hero, the heroine, the warrior, you know. So it's as though we're driven by these unconscious stories. Who was it who wrote The Hero's Journey? Campbell, was
Totally.
it? Joseph Campbell. So do you think that even though we might not
Yep.
be aware of it, do you think that a highly creative person is driven by a particular kind of unconscious story that they are creating, that they're making manifest?
I feel that you have just opened the biggest and most exciting can of worms in this conversation, because I very often need to find which part of this person is driving them. Is it their protector who needs to make sure that they stay out of trouble and they're not going to be abandoned or humiliated and they're safe? And the protector can very often keep people working very, very hard, head down, no one will criticize, but nothing much changes. Or is it beyond the protector, a creative, maybe, as you just said, kind of warrior who cuts his own track, explores, and claims new lands and makes things beautiful? And once the warrior's there, then do we need the lover energy who's going to hold the relationships and nurture them, etc., etc.? And is all of that at some stage a little bit too much like doing? And it needs to be held as an accomplished business, and then it's more the king or the sovereign energy. So there are these different parts. Now, I find that when someone is doing creative rather than being creative, then maybe we have a problem, because maybe that's not an actual expression of creativity, but what's actually at play is when I was restricted as a child, then creativity was my escape, and that's where I existed. Is that the energy we want? Or is it when I was ignored as a child, then when I was creative, I was praised, and that's how I got positive attention. So it's almost like building on the essence of where this is coming from. And I would say a much better example of that would be to do with actually, say, meeting deadlines or behavior in the boardroom. So when I'm in the boardroom, am I used to being special, spoiled, and very clever? Therefore, I need to dominate and play that personality and not be a very good listener. Or when I'm in the boardroom, am I a really good team player who can listen to everyone, get the best out of everyone, and hold the spaces open so everyone can take some space take some ownership within the team, and everyone has space to express creatively. So it depends on where the individual is coming from. And is creativity a natural expression? Is it a compensation? Is it an ace card? Is it all I've got to offer? And you'd better adore me for doing it, because otherwise I'd be very, very upset and therefore let the team down. So much of this is what's going on behind the scenes, and the archetypes are fundamentally important here. I mean, two kings in one kingdom and no one cooking the soup is going to have a starving kingdom.
Yeah, indeed.